asked to do India at 60, I just took the attitude, we know what happened in the last 60 years, good, bad, and the ugly. So not much point in looking at the rearview mirror, let us look in front. So I took the attitude of India at 75. And I'll tell you what the bottom line is. I believe that India has the opportunity to actively shape the emerging world order. I believe that this is something that happens once in 50, 60 years, once in a lifetime opportunity for India to become an active player in shaping not only her destiny, but the destiny of the whole world. And become one of the few, maybe 5 or 6 countries which will do this. But in order to do that, I think we must have economic strength. We certainly need technological vitality. But what sometimes we don't debate as much is moral leadership. If you look at what happened to India at the end of our freedom struggle, between 50 and 60, India had enormous moral strength. And therefore, single-handedly, India created the non-aligned movement, which is the third force, which shaped history of the world in a very dramatically different way. But today the discussion in India is all about economic strength, not about moral strength. So we will not succeed if we don't have enough attention paid to all three in equal measure. Economics, good innovation, creativity, and certainly good morality. I believe there is a whole different range of opportunities that we can talk about. You can assume that India became independent in 47. I would also say India became independent in 93. So we must probably celebrate it twice. 93 we opened up to the rest of the world. Now, what we have been able to accomplish in the last 13, 14 years is quite extraordinary. I believe that India can start looking at itself as a country which becomes the provider of knowledge for the whole world, not just for India. 200 million graduates, 500 million people were trained professional. So imagine what happens if we have 500 million trained professional workers, 200 million graduates of very high quality. Then for the whole world, for knowledge-based work, India inside becomes the norm. With aging population in Europe, aging population in Japan, China also will have an aging population. US is still very bimodal. So most countries need knowledge workers, people who can help and operate systems. And India has the opportunity to provide people for the whole world, not just for India. And that is the opportunity that we have. Become leaders of industry and commerce, create at least 30 Fortune 100 companies. If you look at what has happened in the last 3 years with very clearly focused acquisitions, this is already starting to happen. We are not there in Fortune 500 in big numbers, but very soon I expect to see people in Fortune 500, 50, 100 companies, and then move on very rapidly. So the $1 billion club in Indian companies for the first time has become a very large group compared to what it used to be 10, 15 years ago. India accounts for 10% of world trade. I believe in 1770, India had 20% of world trade. Then we went to 0.5%, which means you don't matter. Now maybe we're to 1.5%, 2%. The question is, can we get to 10 in the next 15 years? And certainly how to make India a source of innovations, which is quite important. I believe that you can look at 800 million Indians and you say this is a problem, but you can say if we can educate all of them at world-class levels and at affordable prices, then we would have created a revolution not just in India but around the world. It's not just enough to educate a large number of people, but make them world-class. If we can do it at affordable prices, we would have created a huge revolution. The same thing in healthcare, same thing in housing. I believe that India will have to produce 500 new cities. Look at urbanization in India. Look at the number of slums. We have to create at least 500 cities because 30 people leave rural India to urban India to live in a slum every minute of the day for the next 20 years. is going to be one of the largest internal migrations you've ever witnessed. Flowering of art, literature and science, Nobel Prizes are not given to people with huge infrastructure. They're given to unique people who make a difference to the world's thinking. And that's a very different process. Some of the research requires infrastructure, but a lot of it requires commitment to personal excellence. And that is what makes the difference. And finally, there is one area where I believe fundamentally India can compete with China effectively, and China cannot even come close. We have the most diverse population in any one country that I can imagine. It's more diverse than even in Europe. All major religions, all major languages, significant differences in cuisine, lifestyles, everything exists. If we can figure out how to live in harmony, if we can not just live in harmony, but leverage our diversity to good advantage, we would have shown the world something very unique. Is this a prize worth fighting for? Leadership in the world, educated, highly educated country, economic strength because of global trade and some of the largest companies, therefore a whole infrastructure of small and medium-sized enterprises supporting them, flowering of art and literature, and celebration of diversity. I believe implementation also requires principles. The point I want to make is resources have no absolute meaning. It has only meaning in relationship to tasks, relationship to aspirations, relationship to something else. What is the aspiration about? Is it primarily about me and my family? Or is it for me and my community? Or is it for me and the world? Or for me and the whole nation? Because that's a quite important distinction. If it is for me, it's phenomenal, it's good. But what's the problem? We will maximize private good and sacrifice public good. If it is for the whole country, it's very different. So I'm happy that you think it's all about aspirations. My sense is, of course, every family has aspirations for the children. That is fine. Maybe we have aspirations for the city in which we live or the community in which we live. But if it is a national shared aspiration, like Purna Swaraj, it is not obvious to me. Maybe because I don't live here full time.